If you've ever been ghosted, friend-zoned, breadcrumbed, it's not proof that you failed. It's proof that you forgot who you were. You forgot that men who are chased, who are craved, who are obsessed over, they don't beg. They don't plead. They don't ask. They remember. They remember how to sit with the silence, how to hold their gaze, how to stay on their mission even when the world turns away. And most of all, they remember how to become irreplaceable, not by asking for attention, but by demanding respect through presence. How many times have you bent so she'd stay? How many times have you waited for a message instead of walking your path? How many times have you been afraid that letting go would mean losing everything? Now realize this. Every time you kneel, you shrink. Every time you stay silent out of fear instead of power, you vanish. Every time you chase, you confirm you're not worth being pursued. But today, that ends. Today, you become the flame. Because the man who builds in silence, the man who walks alone with vision, the man who stops asking, he becomes unforgettable. Let her drift. Let the silence grow. Let the void speak. Because this time it won't consume you. It will crown you. Every time you respond instantly, you become predictable. Every time you double tap her photo, she files you away as guaranteed. Every time you validate without her earning it, you lose ground. Every time you rush to her story, she confirms your place in the crowd. Every time you send that good morning text, she files you under certain. Women crave uncertainty. Not chaos, but chaos they can't decode. Not comfort, but the edge of a question unanswered. Remember when she first noticed you? You didn't rush. You didn't explain. You didn't orbit her. You moved with gravity she couldn't map. You replied not when she wanted, but when it aligned with your focus. You weren't needy. You were necessity wrapped in distance. Now you're the echo of your former presence. A like, a seen notification, a trace she doesn't chase. Withdraw. Starve the ego you once fed like sacred duty. Remove your name from her daily dopamine diet. Let your absence become the itch she can't scratch. Let her scroll back and see the space you left. Let her send a message that doesn't turn blue. Let her feel the algorithm choke on your silence. How many times have you thrown attention at someone who offered nothing but delay? How many hours have you spent clarifying emotions to someone who weaponized confusion? Pull back, not with anger, but with weight. Every minute you don't reply, her ego fractures. Every compliment you withhold becomes a mirror she stares into and sees lack. You are not a screen she taps for a hit of worth. You are the black hole she never meant to orbit. Let her feel it. Let her replay it. Let her wander your silence like a maze with no exit. And ask yourself, how many more moments will you hand away to someone who never earned them? Because every time you vanish without apology, you become unforgettable. She must see you thriving in a world where her name holds no weight. Not ignored with bitterness, but irrelevant through growth. The moment she believes you sit, waiting, refreshing her profile, stuck in the echo of old memories, she feels nothing. But the moment she senses your evolution, the unfamiliar rhythm of your life pulsing forward, she watches, quietly, obsessively, powerless to look away. You don't need to post with thirst. You don't need to perform joy. You need to become a man too occupied by transformation to even notice who's watching. Every rep in the gym, every chapter read, every boundary set, it becomes a flare in the distance, a signal, not a call for her return, a warning. This version of you doesn't wait. Have you ever dimmed your ambition because she said she felt small next to it? Have you ever silenced your vision to make her stay? Every time you chose her comfort over your climb, you trained her to forget your worth. No more. Every time you build without announcement, she feels the silence thicken. Every time your name disappears from her feed, her questions grow louder. Every time you rise without reaching, her stomach twists. Think of a room where men argue to be heard. Then one walks in, silent, centered, focused, and the room shifts. That is you. Every action without explanation, every win without announcement, every distance unclosed, it becomes pressure. She senses what she can't decode. She senses the presence of a man who no longer needs her curiosity because he's too busy becoming. Be the echo she can't place, the shadow that suggests fire. Be the mystery that evolves, not in her absence, because of it. She doesn't want what's easy, she wants what's desired. When she sees you as the man no one else wants, she drifts, she disengages, she decays in interest. But when she senses real orbit from real women, she awakens like fire meeting oxygen. This isn't trickery, it's not cruelty, it's primal, it's nature's own blueprint. The lion never begs for affection. He doesn't prove himself with noise. He lives steady, unfazed, and they come. Every time you're seen with others, her instincts stir. Every time she senses that your value echoes beyond her validation, her curiosity rises. Every time your name is uttered by someone else, someone beautiful, someone new, it carves a notch in her attention. Attend events, not to be seen, but to see. Be present, not loud. Let your lifestyle do the whispering. A photograph, a story, a moment of genuine connection with another, it sends tremors through the invisible tether she once assumed was hers to command. You don't even need to acknowledge her. That's the irony. In fact, the less you perform, the more she projects. The quieter you remain, the louder her mind becomes. How many times has she glanced at your story, heart pounding, searching for the unfamiliar face near you? How many times have you been accused of something you didn't even know you did, simply because your energy shifted? Now imagine if you knew how to wield that, not as manipulation, but as mastery, as truth. Let her question what she lost. Let her wonder why you feel distant even in silence. Let her spiral, because for once, you are the storm she cannot predict. Desire attracts desire. A man wanted by others is no longer an option. He's an opportunity, a challenge, a mirror to her fading hold. And ask yourself, how many times have you buried your light just to keep her calm? How many moments have you avoided connection just to appear loyal to someone who already stopped choosing you? Let go of that weight. Let her feel what it's like to compete for your attention. Let her experience the same hunger you once swallowed. Desire what is desired. Be what is hunted. Not because you tried, but because you moved forward. That is instinct. That is power. Silence isn't absence, it's presence intensified. It's the roar that never has to be made, the presence that enters before you speak, the answer she keeps chasing but never fully hears. Most men panic in silence. They smother it with noise. They send the e-text, they double text, they explain, clarify, overshare, anything to stop the discomfort. And in that flood of desperation, they wash away all mystery. But the man who masters silence, he becomes legend. He doesn't just stop talking, he lets the void do the speaking. He understands that silence isn't passive, it's an active tension, a force that bends perception. Every pause becomes presence. Every unread message becomes a mirror. Every time you remain silent, you challenge her ego. Every time you withhold your words, you make her imagination louder. Every time you don't react, you become the story she rewrites in her mind. Think of the lion again. Does he explain where he's been, or does he sit, unbothered, and let the jungle rearrange around him? The moment she pulls away, your instincts scream. Respond, recover, repair. But don't. Instead, breathe. Stillness is not weakness, it's dominance exercised with restraint. It's the master archer pulling back the bow, not yet releasing the arrow. When she reaches out with hay, don't dive into the noise. Respond only when rooted, when your center is unshaken. Have you ever seen a commander justify his silence in the middle of war? No. You are that commander. You are the force behind the curtain. You shift momentum with delay, not reaction. You create gravity with space, not explanation. Silence is not absence, it's sculpture. It's smoke that suggests fire. Each second you hold it, you mold her perception of you into something more valuable, more rare. Imagine this. A man sits in a room. She texts, no reply. Hours pass, her mind races. What is he doing? Who is he with? Why isn't he answering? He becomes larger in his absence than he ever was in presence. That's power. Not loud, not performed, just undeniable. Let her feel the silence you once feared. Let her wonder where you went. Let her chase the sound of your return, but this time don't let it come too quickly. Ask yourself, how many times have you killed the spark by filling the silence? How many times have you broken your own gravity just to feel seen? Now do the opposite. Hold the silence like a sword. Let her lean forward to hear you. Let her tremble in the space you refuse to fill, because that space is where legends are born. There is no attraction without respect, and there is no respect without a frame. Your frame is the invisible boundary of your worth. It's how you move, how you speak, how you hold to your principles when tested. Every time you compromise for approval, your frame cracks. Every time you bend to avoid conflict, she senses it and withdraws. To be chaste, you must first become immovable. Set boundaries and never flinch. If she flakes, let her. If she disrespects, correct her once and walk. Not as punishment, but as proof that your standard is real. Would a king debate with a beggar about the rules of his kingdom? Would a warrior explain why he chooses not to fight every battle? The world bends to those who guard their frame. Take control of the tempo. You decide the pace of the conversation, the rhythm of connection. If she accelerates, slow it down. If she retreats, do not follow. Hold position. Prioritize your purpose. Make her orbit your discipline. Show her that your goals, your rituals, your path, they come first. And above all, maintain composure. The moment you react emotionally, you surrender command. Stay calm. Stay rooted. How many times have you traded power for a moment of validation? How many times have you lowered your voice to be heard? No more. Rebuild the frame. Guard it ruthlessly. Let her witness your strength, not through domination, but through quiet refusal to bend. She won't say it, but deep down, she's waiting for a man who won't fold. Be that man. Let her chase the one thing she can't break, your unshakable presence. This isn't about manipulation, it's about transformation. About reawakening the force within that you once traded for approval. It's not about getting her back, it's about getting yourself back. And when you do, when you become the man who no longer asks, no longer waits, no longer explains, she won't hear it in your words. She'll feel it in your silence. She'll taste it in the air you no longer offer. Not through texts, not through gifts, but through the absence that thunders louder than presence. Through the space you command simply by no longer seeking. Let her chase the man who forged himself in fire, not the one who melted under her gaze. Let her feel the shift, from the boy who reacted to the man who reigns. Every time you choose strength over softness, every time you choose stillness over scrambling, every time you choose purpose over pleasing, you become not just attractive, you become inevitable. Think about the last time you compromised your edge just to keep the peace. Now ask yourself, did she respect you more afterward? Or did her interest wither? Now imagine becoming the man who would never make that trade again. Every time you build in silence, you echo in her thoughts. Every time you speak only when grounded, you raise your value. Every time you leave her questions unanswered, she begins to answer them for you, and every answer draws her closer. Because power doesn't chase, it radiates. So now the question isn't just, will you remain the flame? The question is, can you stand to burn? Can you hold your fire when she leans in, just to test your composure? Can you stay on your path when her pull becomes seductive again? The chase doesn't begin when she turns her head. It begins the moment you stop turning yours. The moment you stop seeking to be chosen and begin choosing yourself.